is an invitation. So don't get hung up on exactly how my body looks in the pose. Just worry about how your body feels in the pose. So it should feel challenging, but not sharply painful. And yeah, go at your own speed. Make it work for you. It's your class. It's your practice, if you will. So let's do that. Let's come to find a comfortable seated position. I like sitting on the ground, but if you're sitting in a chair, that's awesome too. Covered in sand from the dog beach. Oh yeah. All right. Great. So I like coming to sit on the ground, and I just sit with my legs crossed. If something like this brings any pain to your lower back, you can come to sit up on a block or like a stack of books to bring your hips higher than your knees. My knees don't go down past my hips, but my lower back isn't bothered by it, so I just let that go. There we go. Cool. Chest comes to rest over the hips, and head rests over the heart. So we're stacking the spine nice and straight, like there's a string pulling you up from the crown of your head. Hands come to land on the knees, either palms down to ground down or palms up to give and receive energy if you feel you've got a little extra to give today. Eyes can close or lower to a soft gaze just beyond your feet if that feels more comfortable to you. And we'll start this practice with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and out through the mouth, shoulders drop down with an audible sigh. And let the breathing continue just in and out through the nose if that's available at a natural pace. We'll take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And become present to yourself here in this space. And begin to allow sounds into your awareness. Perhaps the sound of passing traffic. Or the rumbling of a radiator. Humming of a light. And letting all sounds in all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. And weight of your hands on your lap. And begin to scan your body from head down towards toes. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity. Any restlessness or fidgeting. I'm just taking note to work into those places that call out for your attention throughout our practice here today. And shifting the awareness from Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, to Pranamaya Kosha, the energetic level. Noticing on a scale of 1 to 10, where you're at in this moment. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And shifting the attention to the breath. Just following the inhalations and exhalations. Noticing the spaces in between. There's no need to change it, just observing your natural breath. And shifting the awareness up to Manomaya Kosha, the mind. Allowing thoughts and emotions to arise. No need to engage with them. You can observe them from a distance, like clouds passing in the sky. Just notice, what are the quality of the thoughts today? Do they have a positive or negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. And we'll bring the attention back down to the breath, this time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air, deep belly breathing. Belly expands like a balloon being inflated. And on the exhale, belly button pulls in towards spine. So we're using some core strength to actually deflate the whole belly and rib area. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Creating a nice, long, deep breath, we'll begin our equal parts breathing practice. On the inhale, adding a beat, so a count to it, counting silently in your head on your inhalation. And when you get to the top of your inhale where there's no space to bring in even another sip of air, hold that number, be it 4 or 8 or 17, and match the length of your exhalation to that number. So inhale for 12, exhale for 12. And still the jaw is relaxed, space between top and bottom teeth, let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Still seated up nice and tall, crown of the head towards the sky, shoulders pulled back. And when the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath and back to your counting. And those equal parts breathing helps calm the nervous system. And it's a great technique to use if you're having a hard time falling asleep, lying in bed instead of rehashing your whole day or worrying about tomorrow, adding a count to your breath, making them equal. Let's let go of that breath work and return to a natural pace. We'll bring hands to meet at heart center. Good morning, Papa Mario. Good morning, Kyle Parker. Happy Valentine's Day, all of you. Good morning, Kat on Facebook. So here we'll set an intention or a dedication for this practice. It is Valentine's Day, so maybe it can be love-related, self-love related, pet love related, lover love related, parents. Like sometimes I'll choose somebody who's challenging me and dedicate the yoga practice to them. You know what I mean by like challenging? Like, do you guys have kids? Like, I feel like parents know what I'm talking about. Just be like, I love this person. Like, and no matter, it could be like your manager at work or whatever. And just dedicate the practice to them, and I should always feel better about it at the end. So anyway, that's the invitation, to choose a person or an object of love to dedicate the class to, but you can do whatever you want. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. You're invited to chant with me. First, the cleansing breath. Hands to release to the lap, chin drops towards chest, and then inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest, and left ear towards left shoulder. Just letting the head roll side to side. I know what you're talking about. I have a 3-year-old daughter who challenges me all the time. Yep, sounds about right. But you love her, right? Like, totally worth the challenge. So it's like, yoga class. It's worth the challenge. Alright, next time your head rolls through center, let's bring it up to neutral and begin to roll the shoulders forward. So your eyes can even still be closed for this part. Just finding some movement in the upper back, shoulders, and neck. Roll the shoulders back. I think the thing about being challenged is like, or feeling challenge, not when someone like confronts you, it's a little different, is that certain people show up in certain ways that make it hard for us to stay the person that we want to be or see ourselves as. It's like if you see yourself as a kind, patient person and somebody makes you like wait a really long time, you might suddenly find yourself like a very irritated, not nice person. Like that's challenging to see that part of yourself. So inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, bend over to the right. Left arm reaches over. Inhale up through center. And exhale over to the left. So my right hip is glued to the ground. I don't let it lift. I'm just following the breath side to side. Swiss, good morning. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Happy Valentine's Day. I don't know if they have Valentine's Day in Switzerland. Seems pretty hallmarky to me, but you know. Right, back up through center, and we'll take it a high twist to the right. Left hand lands on the right knee, chest opens to the side wall, and inhale back up through center. You're such a beautiful person. You can sense your aura. That's really sweet. Thank you. So we're following the breath in to rise and out to twist. So we're keeping the spine nice and tall. It's not the deepest twist of your life. It's just enough to wake up the spine, to let it know that there's more to come. And we just got one more to each side, kind of connecting your breath to your movement. And we'll release the hands down. Let's work. We'll just do I want to do that? No, let's just bring the legs out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Just waking up the lower legs. Change directions. Are you an artist? I am. I'm an illustrator full-time. I just teach yoga in the mornings for fun and because I like all of you guys. I mean, I am a yoga instructor as well, like for years, but not during pandemic times. This is my yoga studio, the virtual world. But yeah, I paint in watercolor and ink. Let's bend our knees, feet come nice and wide, like mat's distance apart. Just drop the knees side to side. Lone Wood RB, aloha, friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome to yoga. Okay. So we're just letting the legs go side to side. Let the knees fall over to the right. Right hand comes in close towards the right hip. I'm going to sweep this left arm up as we lift the hips and the chest. So up onto the knees, hips, chest rise, and 3 big back strokes with this left arm. Sink the hips back down, landing nice and soft. We'll drop the knees over to the left. So just notice, my knee is not on top of the foot, it's just behind it. Left hand on the ground, close to left hip. And as this arm sweeps up, we lift up onto the knees, lifting hips, lifting chest, and 3 big back strokes with the right arm. And we just touch the hips down, knees to the right, and then just on the inhale, we just sweep up and reach back. Exhale, hips touch down. Bring it over to the left. Inhale, rise just for a breath in. Exhale, touch down, switch sides. So we've got one more on each side. We're beginning to open the chest and the front side of the hips. And the next time your knees fall over to the right. Actually, Valentine's Day was invented in Rome, Italy, next to Switzerland. Okay, sweet. I learned something new. I didn't know that. I just assumed that, like, capitalism invented and ruined everything. So, but, you know, that's, like, very American of me to be like, oh, the Americans invented it, when, like, blatantly it has, like, a deep, long history. So, alright, I appreciate you. I saw some of your self-portraits on your Instagram. They're beautiful. You're very talented. Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, hands come to frame the right knee, and then we're just bringing it back to tabletop pose. Hands come below shoulders, knees below hips, and we'll drop the belly, hips and chest, rise for cow pose. Exhaling round in the spine, chin tucks towards chest for cat. Leaf. Inhaling through cow. Exhaling through cat pose. And one more like that. Back through center. We'll sweep the right arm open. Deep breath in here, reaching towards the sky. And exhale, we'll weave this arm through that space without touching down. Inhale, sweeps open. Exhale, reach the arm through. Inhale to sweep open. And exhale, weave it through. This time we land on that right shoulder and side of the head. Most people think of Paris, France on Valentine's Day. Do they? I think most people in my country think of Cheesecake Factory. Alright. His hands pressing into the ground, pushing the left shoulder back so the chest is open towards the side wall. I'm pressing this bottom right arm into the ground to give a nice stretch to this right shoulder blade and the right side of the neck. This hand can stay here, pressing the chest open for a twist, or it can come up overhead. Notice my hips stay over my knees. I'm not letting my hips sink down to my heels at all. There's still this 90-degree angle in the leg. Or you can bring the hand to the back, to the lower back. So the back of my hand's on my lower back. If that shoulder begins to close, I just pull it, up and back, up and back. Hand can even come around front, grabbing the front of my left thigh. Sorry, of my right thigh. That's like for a bind, or it's called a half bind. Then, if you want to play with some balance, you might extend the left leg straight. So I still have my toes on the ground. I can press my heel back to get a little bit of a calf stretch. And just kind of change the stretch on my neck and shoulder by rearranging some of where that weight goes. And then for more of a balance challenge, you can point the toe and slowly levitate the leg up. So I say slowly because momentum is not your friend here. Like, you will fall over behind you. Like, you'll roll over. It won't be a big deal. It's probably not going to hurt. But if you go too fast, your leg will take the rest of your body with you. So instead, we're intentional, we're controlled. And still, we're breathing fully. We'll slowly float that foot down. Toes touch down first, then the knee. Hand comes underneath the shoulder. Right arm sweeps open towards the sky. And you touch the hand down to the ground. I'm just going to turn so I can still be facing the screen for you guys. Oh, left arm sweeps open towards the sky. And exhale, it weaves through. We're not touching down yet. Just going to inhale back, open towards the sky. Exhale, weave. Last time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, weave. Landing side of the head and shoulder and arm onto the ground. Bottom arm is like a kickstand. So you're adjusting the amount of pressure and weight into the ground accordingly as to what's going to work for you, what's going to feel best on this neck and shoulder stretch. Right hand's pressing the ground away, opening the shoulder to get a nice twist in the back, and still we're keeping the hips over the knees without letting them sink back or forward or anything like that. Right hand can stay on the ground in front of you. You can reach up overhead. Or you can start playing with that half bind, working towards grabbing your left thigh. This one just feels better on my back. And to play with the balance, you can extend the right leg straight. I first like digging my toes into the ground and pressing the heel back to get a bit of a calf stretch. And then from there, toes point, coming to a little float. And just letting that leg levitate up, just gently float up. Breathing fully here. One more breath here in our thread the needle pose. We'll slowly let that foot touch back down. Knee releases, right hand comes in front of the face, underneath the shoulder, and left arm sweeps open. Let the hand touch down to the mat. And then we'll turn to not at all anymore. A lot of people think about London, Berlin, Cologne. Okay. So. Here we are in tabletop pose. We'll tuck the toes under. My hand is so dry. And then press the hips up for a downward facing dog. We're just going to be gentle in it right now. So really keeping a nice deep bend to the knees. We'll just begin to pedal out the feet. So one hip drop and then the other. Nod the head yes, shake the head no. And finding the spacing that works for you in this downward facing dog. We actually want to open up the shoulders a bit extra today, so we're going to leave a little space between the hands and the feet, right? So the closer our feet are to the hands, the deeper the stretch in the legs, but we're going to work towards a bit of shoulder and chest opening today. So let's just keep the legs where it feels comfortable for you, or even a little bit further back. We begin to drop the chest. And if you can't drop your chest down past your shoulders, right? If you have this angle, trying to get here, but you're like, my body's not doing that, give your knees a bend and then send your hips up and back, like your butt's trying to touch where the back wall meets the ceiling. So it's okay for the knees to be bent here because we're just working on the chest and shoulder stretch. So all that energy is pressing up and back, up and back, up and back for another deep breath here in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And then looking up between the hands, we'll take a step forward with the right foot. It can take a couple steps, so no worries. It doesn't have to be one big step or anything like that. And then we'll drop the left heel down. And just notice, right knee's bent over right ankle. If you were to draw a line straight back, it would intersect with the back foot, the arch of the back foot. So the left arm sweeps forward, up, and over for our warrior two. Almost. Yeah, all right. I'll have a different space tomorrow, but this will work just fine. So my hips are open towards the long side of the mat. Knee stays over ankle. Pinky side edge of the foot pressing into the ground. Arms come parallel to the earth. The right hand reaches up towards the sky. The elbow bends. Hand comes to the back of the head. Left arm drops down beside you, and then back of the hand to the lower back. So, we're like this. Maybe the hands walk in towards one another. Maybe you can reach to grip. But here's the key. From the side, my elbows are pressing back behind me. So maybe you can reach your hands and even grab, but this elbows come forward. Pull it back, and if that's not possible, then it's okay, just let go. Instead, press into your own body to leverage the shoulders open. Shoulder blades pulling together. Okay. So it's almost like you're an archer reaching for his bow. Or an archer reaching for an arrow out of a quiver. So you can be Cupid today. How about that? How about that? All right, so we're going to inhale into a reverse warrior. So just notice with your hands here, like bound, maybe you have to take it a little bit slower. So we're breathing into this whole right side body. Commit to the bend in that right knee. We're strengthening the leg here. Another full breath in and out. And bring it back up through center. Release the arms. They come up parallel to the ground. Let's extend the right leg long. Tilt the hips to the right. Left hip pops up. And the right hand's reaching forward, forward, forward like it's going to touch the wall ahead of you. And we'll drop the right hand down till the back of it's pressing into the calf and the left arm's up towards the sky for a Trikonasana triangle pose. So you might look up towards the top hand, you might look down towards the bottom hand. We're just breathing here. The legs are strong. It's like someone's pulling you up towards the sky from your top hand. You just got one more breath here. Then bend into this right knee, pivot onto the toes of the back foot, and hands come down to frame this front right foot. So it's like a runner's lunge. I'm light on the hands, but my fingertips are touching the ground. So I'm pressing back through the heel, reaching forward with the crown of my head. And then like lightning bolts, the arms come straight back up behind you, or like airplane arms. Inhaling, the arms sweep forward overhead. Exhale, the arms come down and back behind you. So really strengthening this front leg today. Inhale, arms sweep forward. Exhale, they reach back. Last time, they're sweeping forward. And then release the hands down to the mat, release the back knee down to the mat, untuck the toes. We'll come up for Anjaneyasana low lunge. Shoulders come up over the hips. If you find yourself here and you can't bring your shoulders over the hips, bring in your back knee a bit so that your stance is just a little bit shorter. You should feel a deep stretch in your front left thigh, like your quadricep or your hip flexor. And if you don't feel that and you can keep your shoulders over your hips, then you want to widen the space between front and back knee. Left hips pressing forward, right hips pulling back. We'll inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, fingers interlace behind the head. I let go of my thumbs and just let them frame or go down the sides of my neck, cervical spine. And as my head presses back into my hands, I open up my elbows using the pressure of the head into the hands to give a nice chest opening. It's like there's a string attached to my chest pulling me up towards the sky. One more deep breath here. Then releasing the pressure from the head, arms come up overhead, then hands come down to the ground. Tuck the left toes under. You better. That stretch kills me every time. What's it called? With the low lunge with the head pressed into the hands. Okay. Both hands come to the inside of the right foot. Lift the left knee, and we're going to pivot both toes towards facing the long end of the mat. And you cameraman. Okay. Pivot both toes towards the front end of the mat and walk the hands to the middle. It's okay if your knees are bent for this. Then we're working towards extending the legs straight or straight-ish to let the head hang heavy in the middle for our standing wide angle fold. So my whole top body is just relaxed over the bottom body. I'm showing you from the side. You can just stay with your feet on your actual mat. But sometimes you feel like you're falling backwards, like your weight is going towards the wall behind you. But instead, we actually want to bring the weight forward, forward, forward towards the toes. Just don't lift your heels. So you don't want to, come onto tiptoes, but you want the weight to be shifted forward. Yeah, I'm Johnny asking. So what part of your body makes that really challenging? Is it the hip flexors? I was working with a client on Thursday, and his hip flexors were like, absolutely not. We're not about it. So, okay, so then what to do with your arms here? You can just let them be heavy. I like just putting them down and through, just on the backs. But you can also bring them forward in front of you like downward facing dog, and not even necessarily like pressing the hands into the ground. Maybe that feels good, you can do that, but even just letting them be straight and strong, and that'll give your back a different stretch. So you're pressing into the pinky side edges of the feet here. You might even interlace your hands at your lower back. Bring the arms straight towards the sky. It can feel good to let them drop forward. You know what's good in your body, and if you don't, then experiment and find out together. Just got one more deep breath here. And hands come back down in front of you. Yeah, the inside hips in the right and the left. It feels more like a nerve and not a muscle problem. Yeah, you might have an impingement on your spine. That happened to me. I had to go see a chiropractor. It happened from pole dancing, though. It didn't happen from yoga. But yoga itself wasn't enough to correct it either. So sometimes we need to cross over different art form, body forms, right? Okay, so hands come underneath the shoulders. We're coming to like a flat back. So it's like that flat back feeling. You can even be on tips of the fingers. My feet are pressing in towards one another. It's like I'm trying to scrunch the mat together. And with a super flat back, come to stand. So my legs are squeezing together to give me the tension necessary to make that rise possible. Almost in frame. This is close enough. All right, once we're standing, we'll turn the left toes to face the short end of the mat. You might be facing backwards now. And bend in the left knee. Left knee is over the ankle. Pinky side edge of the right foot pressing into the ground, and the toes are still facing forward, the long end of the mat. Arms open up. Thanks, I'll try that. Cool, yeah. Arms open up like the letter T. And this time it's the left arm that reaches up towards the sky, and the elbow bends, hand comes to the back of the head. Right arm drops down, bend in the elbow, and the back of the hand presses into the lower back. I mean, I'm like 6 feet tall. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's a lot of pressure gravitationally being that tall. I have a very low center of gravity, so I'll give that some credit for balance. And all right, so hands pressing into the spine, elbows pull back. Maybe the hands creep in towards one another. Maybe they even connect. Even so, we're pulling back and open. So it's all about opening the shoulders and the chest today, the upper back. Commit to this bend in the left knee. Might be starting to get warm, might even get shaky. That's all right, we're just building this muscle. Your next inhale lifts up the left elbow, the left side, and we're bending to the right. Opening through reverse warrior 2. Another breath here. back up through center. Arms release. Extend the left leg straight. Drop the left hip so the right hip pops out. And reaching towards the wall in front of you. So it's like a slide. Reach, 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 reach. The bottom hand just comes down. Back of the hand presses into the calf. And right arm straight to the sky. So we're stacking like a little lift. Right? Stacking the shoulders over one another and using the tension of the hand against the leg for leverage to keep the chest open. Just like before, we were using the tension of the hand and the spine to get the elbow and chest open. So tension can feel uncomfortable or difficult to manage or like it's a bad thing. Like tension is bad. But we can actually use it to our advantage when properly directed. Look up to the hand above or the hand below to give your neck an even stretch, depending what you did on the other side. And that's our last breath here in Trikonasana triangle pose. And looking down at the front foot, bend in the left knee, hands come down to frame the foot, pivoting onto the back right toes. You release the right knee down to the mat and untuck the toes. Up. Left knee over left ankle or stacking joints to keep the knee protected. And we'll bring it up to Anjaneyasana. You can use your hand as a step here and then just see like how my knees, like if I were to draw a line straight down, my knee is past my ankle. So what I'm going to do is just pivot or slide the foot forward a bit more. Yeah. Or you could bring the hips back and up a bit more if the stretch in this front thigh is too much. Arms come up overhead on the inhale. And exhale, hands interlace. Change the interlace. So if your left fingertips on top, bring your right index finger on top. So goofy grip. Thumbs release, coming down the sides of your neck. And then press your head into the hands, creating resistance. Elbows begin to open, shoulder blades are pulling in towards one another. We're breathing here. Chest is lifting up towards the sky. My hands are pressing the head too. We're not like all the way back with the neck or anything. There's like a tension right in the center where there's effort being had. And then releasing back through center. Hand releases down to the ground. Tuck the right toes under, lift the knee, walk the hands to center, pivot both toes towards the long end of the mat. And inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. So it's your second fold here. You can be in stillness or in movement. One movement that I personally like is just allowing my arm to sweep open in a twist, and I let my hips go with the ride, so I'm getting a nice deep stretch in the inner groin here, inner thigh, and then I just like connect it to movement, bringing it side to side, connecting movement to breath. Alternately, if you're like ready for a little bit more stillness, you can let yourself hang heavy and then reach for the pinky side edges of the foot or even the heel. And then using that grip, begin to bend the elbows, bringing the head and chest down through between the legs. If your head touches the ground right away, bring your feet in a little closer, and that's going to give you some more space to play. So just got another breath or two here. Release both hands underneath the shoulders for that halfway lift type feeling. Feet are pressed in towards center. So I'm squeezing in with the legs to create tension and come up with a nice flat back. Heel toe the feet in towards one another. I was just saying how not tall I am. Better? Okay. Hands come onto the hips. We'll open the right knee out to the side. Dragging the foot in and up. The foot can come to the, I guess it's not that high up, to the inner calf, or even the inner thigh, for our tree pose, Vrikshasana. The foot can also stay down on the ankle. Still the same rules and the same techniques are going to apply. We want to keep the hips pressing forward to create tension between, help create tension between the foot and the standing leg. The open knee is really pressed back. So glutes are squeezed tight. That's going to help pull your hips open. And if you're here yesterday for our half lotus pose, or even if you weren't, you can play with this new variation. New to this class. Welcome to day 45. Not new to yoga. All right, so it looks like this. So we bend in the standing knee, grab the foot, and then place the pinky side edge right at that bikini line, right where your leg meets your groin. The knee drops down. So I'm pressing my hips forward and my knee back, and that counter tension is what holds this foot in place. You can also, if you're just playing around with this, hold the foot in place with your actual hands, right? But just notice if you're leaning forward, pull the chest back. Head over heart, heart over hips. Hips thrusting forward, knee pulling back. Standing leg, just going with the flow. Sometimes we get hung up on oh, my standing leg doesn't know what to do. And I'm like, well, really, you stand all the time. Instead of having to do all the work, you're having one. So it's not as big of a jump. It's not as big of a jump as sometimes we work it up to be mentally. Physically, our bodies know and trust way easily, way more easier than our minds do. Okay. So I'm going to float that foot down. And don't get hung up. If you fall out of that a million times, that's okay. Good for you for starting again. Okay. Hands on the hips. Left knee opens out to the side. Drag the foot in so that the heel is on the ankle. Plenty of work to be done here too. So you can just lift the toe a little bit off the ground. Or find the arch at the calf. Or even bring the foot up to the inner thigh. So it's all about that squeeze between the foot and the leg. Wherever it is on the leg, as long as it's not on the knees, you're all good. It's all gravy. If you want to play with that Ardha Padma Vrikshasana, that half lotus tree, then you just bend in the standing knee. So a little bend's going to give you a little give. It's less stable, but easier to balance, if that makes any sense. You're going to grab the foot, and then place the pinky side edge on that line. Or as close as you can get to it, right? As this knee presses down, I stand up. So the knee is now going down at an angle, down back behind me. My hips are thrusting forward. So counterbalance. So I'm elongating my lower back. So no sway, no Donald Duck butt on the lower back. Pressing it forward. If the hands aren't holding on to anything, you can bring them to heart center, Anjali Mudra. And then a nice mudra to go from here is called Padma Mudra, since we're in Ardha Padma, half lotus. And that is, you just separate, so pinkies stay together, but then ring fingers separate. Middle finger separates, index finger separates, thumbs stay together. So it's you're creating a little bowl or a lotus flower. So go from Anjali to Padma. One more breath here. And we'll release in reverse. Foot floats down. Good work. And we'll just shake it out. Shake out the hands. Bring a bounce to the body. We're going to shake out the whole body for the lymphatic shake portion of class. So I'm just lifting my heels and allowing them to slam onto the ground with soft knees to create like a jiggle, just like your whole body's just relaxed. It's just your toes that are bringing a jump to it. And we're releasing tension, working through any stuckness in the body. You know, like when animals almost get caught in the wild, like a gazelle almost gets caught by a lion but escapes, or a rabbit almost gets caught by a hawk but escapes. They shake their bodies vigorously to release that trauma and release that increased heart rate, the fear, so that they can move on with their lives. If not, they wouldn't be able to function. They would just hide and starve. But like, we don't really do that. So this is an invitation to do that. So when you feel like you're done, you don't want to do this anymore, just double time. And they can be full jumps too, like don't hold back if you're like into jumping. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to go into our breath of joy. So we built up some heat. Looks like this. Feet come nice and wide. And true to childish and funny looking jumps, it's also like they go in one direction, but then they go into another. Okay? So we're going to inhale, arm sweep forward. Just a third of your breath capacity in. Third of your lung capacity, arms sweep out and open. And then the last third, so your full lung capacity in, arms sweep forward, and then it's a big ha, arms sweep down and back. So in, ha! It's a big scream ha out. That was what the part about animals jump like that, not you. Oh, I was like, okay, I don't know what you're trying to say. Okay, so we got 10 of those. So it's in, through the nose with no exhale in between, and a big ha out through the mouth, arm sweep back. In, ha! In, ha! In, ha! In, ha! 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 3 more if you haven't jumped in yet. Now's your chance. Ha! Ha! Last one, make it count. Ha! Taking your breath here. Just bring the feet nice and wide. Hand to the heart, hand to the belly, eyes can close. We'll just take a moment here to observe what was created. Increased heart rate, perhaps raised skin temperature. But what else? What else shows up when you allow yourself to take up space, physically and audibly? Or what shows up as resistance to keep you from going all out? What are you afraid will happen if you do jump around or scream at the top of your lungs? Whose judgment do you fear? Not right or wrong, not good or bad, just something to notice. Let your eyes gently blink open. You can grab a sip of water or towel off. Gune? Hello! Krati, hello, welcome to class if you just joined during that last part. Imagine you're like, what is going on here? But welcome, my friend. We're just finishing up some breath of joy and some lymphatic shaking. Okay, if you're already on the ground, dope. Stay there, we'll meet you there. And if you're not, you can come down with me. So going to the edge of the mat. We'll inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, knees bend deep, 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 so deep. Then we come down to seated. Hands come behind you so that you don't land on your tailbone. Yep. There was one more that I wanted to do. Yeah, we have time. Let's do it. Okay, let's drop the knees to one side. We're coming up to kneeling. I'm just going to turn this way because I think the lighting's a little better. So make sure there's something underneath your knees, a yoga mat or a towel. Like if you're on like tile floor, please don't do this without a pillow or something underneath your knees. Toes tuck under. And then the right hand comes down to the right heel. Hips stay pressing forward. So my hips are pressing forward. I'm letting my chest rise up. And then the left arm is drawing those big circles. So remember how we did earlier today? Like that. Glutes are squeezed to protect the lower back. Just got 3 on this side. And then the next time the arm reaches back, just stay there for a full breath. It's a half camel pose. And then a forward, like a forward stroke to bring you a little bit of momentum to bring you back up to center. Then the left hand comes down to the left heel. So I have my toes tucked under so that my heel is closer. You can also be on a stack of books or a yoga block. And then the right arm is going to do these big back strokes. And you can be looking up towards the sky. That can be like a little bit scary to have like the head tilted back. So you just take it at your pace. And after 3 big back strokes, you can leave the arm reaching back behind you. Chest is still reaching up, right? The chest isn't trying to like touch the floor behind you or anything like that. It's all lifting. Ardha Ustrasana, half camel, and then it's like the front stroke to bring you back forward. Let your hips sink down to your heels. My toes are still tucked under. I'm just going to grab my knees and round in the spine, chin tucks towards chest. So I'm grabbing my knees for a little resistance here. And then back up to center. Okay, from here we're going to full camel pose. So the toes can stay tucked under actually. If you felt like you had more space, your feet could come flat, but I'll just show you this way. I think it's easier since I don't know how many of you guys have blocks or props or not. If not, you would have the blocks at the high, like at your ankles at the high point, like their highest version. I don't have props. All right, so squeezing the glutes, hips press forward, right? We're getting rid of that sway in the lower back. Hands come to the lower back like you're wearing high-waisted jeans, and we're putting them in the back pockets. So hips press forward, forward, forward. Chest lifts up. And maybe the head releases back. And the hands might come down onto the heels. They can stay in like your virtual like back pockets in your lower back for support, which is also great. Or you can have a hand on each heel. So my shoulder blades are still squeezing together. I'm not letting like my head sink down between my shoulders or anything like that, so there's no compression in my neck. And all the while I'm lifting. Hips are pressing forward, chest is lifting up. The head releases back. We're still full breathing, even in the contortion of the back bend. Ustrasana, camel pose. This is a really vulnerable position, so it's likely uncomfortable. And all that discomfort is pretty intentional. We're just practicing being in it. We're just practicing being in this open-hearted, vulnerable position. And trusting that it'll be all right no matter what. So to come back up, chin tucks in towards chest, hands come onto the lower back for support, bring yourself back up to neutral. Untuck your toes, big toes come to touch, sit the hips back, bring the knees nice and wide, and we'll bring the hands forward. So it's like you're coming into a child, it is coming to a child's pose. So we're just stretching forward, not even a deep rounding in the spine, just landing. Just let the spine kind of relax in this, not opposite, but neutral position. Hello. I do not speak that, but thank you, Bodhi, for taking over, my multilingual friend. Just one more deep breath here, in through the nose, and this audible sigh out through the mouth. We'll walk the hands in, drop the hips down to one side, and come to seated. Make sure there's space behind you. Hands hug in behind the knees. We'll sit it up nice and tall. A little bit too far forward. Kind of sit it in the middle of your mat. Scooch forward a bit so all that like fleshy fabulousness is behind you. Sits bones on the ground, and then we'll tilt back. Shins come up parallel to the ground. So the way I'm balancing here is on 3 points. My left and right sits bones, and then my tailbone. So you're like in a tripod. Trying to get my shins parallel to the ground, and then if the back rounds, I just try to counteract that by pressing my chest up and forward, pulling my shoulder blades together. Urdhva Navasana, upward facing boat. He's just talking Turkish to you. And okay. I'm not like rudely ignoring you, I just definitely don't speak Turkish, so I'm just gonna assume that you're saying like really nice things. I have no idea if they're inappropriate. So here we are in upward facing boat. Deep breath in. And exhale, hands release by the side. So now we're using some strength here in the hips to hold it together. Some strength between the shoulder blades to hold it together. We'll begin to extend the legs a bit, just opening up this angle a bit. Inhale, just hold you where you are, Urdhva Navasana. Exhale, extend the legs a bit more, opening the angle even more. Inhale, sustain. Exhale to open a bit more. Inhale, sustain. And exhale, release all the way down. Arms reach up overhead. Full body stretch, toes point. Cool. Knees bend, they come in towards the body. You can give your knees little circles, and away from one another. Change directions. And then when both knees are in center, we'll bring them over to the right. Just gently stacking left hip over right hip. And the left arm opens up like the letter T. Okay, so here's a little trick. Say, like, my arm doesn't extend because I have a couch here today.
So I'm just going to bend my arm like a cactus. Still, my bicep is going to go out like perpendicular to my body. I'm pressing my left shoulder blade to the ground. Otherwise, I'm completely relaxed. Like, it doesn't matter if the knees are touching, if the knees are touching the ground. Everything's relaxed, just that shoulder. Hi, clairvoyant. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just winding down at the end of our yoga class. You can even look over your left shoulder to give the spine a complete twist. Supta Matsyendrasana, supine spinal twist. The head comes up through center, knees come up through center. We'll gently release the knees over to the left, stacking right hip over left hip. Right arm opens up like the letter T. And I'm just pressing my right shoulder down to the ground. The rest of the body's relaxed, and it's just a like passive spinal twist after all that back bending. We'll bring head back up through center. Knees come back up through center, and then just notice, is there any last movement or pose or stretch that your body's asking for? All class, we tell our body what to do, and now we just ask back, like, is there anything that you would like me to do for you? It doesn't have to have a fancy yoga name. It can just be like a wiggle or whatever it might be. Just giving the body a chance to get whatever spots that maybe called out during our first body scan together. If they called out for you and you haven't quite got into that position or got addressed that body part yet, this is kind of your opportunity to go there and just give that, alleviate whatever that itch or twitch or tension might be. As we prepare for Savasana, final relaxation pose. Wrapping up that movement. We'll come into Savasana, and it looks like this. Feet at least a foot apart, legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open to the sides. Bring a little tuck to the lower back. Shoulder blades tuck under, support the chest, and the hands land about 6 inches away from the body. Palms face open to the sky, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. If your lower back is in pain in this position, you can put a rolled up towel or a blanket below your knees to keep them bent, or bring the pinky side edges of the feet out to the edges of the mat and allow the knees to knock together, elongating the lower back. Otherwise, straight flat, no pillow under the head is traditional. Head is just neutral, eyes close, if that's comfortable. If not, just a soft gaze up towards the sky or towards the ceiling, not looking at anything in particular, just allowing the eyes to rest. You stay laying down like that. I'm going to come up to seated myself so that I can more easily communicate with you and speak, and also play some singing bowls for you. So, we'll start this just as we did our first meditation together, or grounding practice together, with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, and an audible sigh out through the mouth. I really do recommend the audible part, like let it be dramatic. It's a great practice to be in, I believe. So 3 of those.
And just allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose if that's available. Allow your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth, a symbol, mudra of chitta vritti, monkey mind. So we're just allowing the mind to take a rest. Sit on the bench. And all the muscles of the lips and mouth, cheeks relax. Nose and nostrils relax, allowing breath to gently pass through, like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets, eyelids just barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens as all the muscles of the forehead relax. Muscles surrounding the ears, all their wrinkles and folds, down in towards the ear canals, all rest. And all the muscles surrounding the back of the head and top of the head, hairline, rest as well. Throat and neck release. Shoulders, shoulder blades, and the space in between all melt away. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. Palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips. Whole hands alive with vibration. Whole hands alive with creative potential. All rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Chest and belly rise and fall with the breath. Pelvis, glutes, hips, rest heavy, supported by the earth below. Thighs and knees melt away.
lower legs and ankles relax. The heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet, and all of the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more, nothing less. Invite your inhalations to deepen and become longer than your exhalations. And every inhale brings the awareness to the surface, front side of the body, that feeling of heaviness replaced with a feeling of lightness and expansion as fingers begin to wiggle and toes. Head can gently rock side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. Let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. You can use your bottom arm as a pillow. Fully released and fully supported by the earth below you, bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for your practice today, or take this opportunity to set one now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands can come to meet at heart center. Today we worked on a series of shoulder and chest opening postures. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste is said out loud to one another, everyone who helped hold space for this class. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who joined me today. I hope you found something that serves you. Namaste, Bodhi. Thank you for always holding it down in the chat. To Clairvoyant as well. I'm not sure if you left, but your presence was appreciated. M9 Easy. Happy Valentine's Day. Namaste, my friend. I didn't know you were here. Happy to have you practicing with us. And yes, thank you, Bodhi, for dropping the tips information in the chat. It does help a lot. Helps me pay my electric and internet bills. So yeah, Venmo is definitely my preferred way of payment, but PayPal works too. Don't feel
obligated ever. You're always welcome here, no matter which way. Just got here. You made it just in time for the final grounding. It's okay, I sneak into people's Savasanas all the time without doing the work before. It's not as satisfying, but it's still great. Namaste, Papa Mario. Thank you, Lar4444. I appreciate you. I'm really glad you both made it to class today without me texting you. I'm just landing back in San Diego as of like Friday, so I'm just getting my like bearings right again. I did not get up early enough to text everybody, but I love you and I'm really glad that you made it. Anyway, I hope that class was great or feels great in your body, and that if you guys are doing anything for Valentine's Day, that this was a nice start before kind of activity for that. $5 does, thank you, $5 does get you a private link to the recording with timestamps. So you don't have to go through, like, fast forward through all of it trying to figure out where the lymphatic shake is. If you just need to yell a little bit, you need someone to guide you through that, you can go right to the timestamp, and I just like DM, whisper, or text you that. You just see Lucy, she's like invisible, but with her little tongue. Please come say hi. Come Valentine, say hi to chat. Please. She's like a ninja. It's just me and Lucy again. No more, right? Didn't even notice she was there. I'm telling you, she's like a ninja. Wait, come back. Don't leave me. The rest of Valentine's Day. So Wolf Dog has gone back to Northern California where she belongs with the snow and stuff. Not us, no. We like to sunbathe. Actually, Lucy loves the snow, to be honest, but I don't. So we're back in sunny California, Southern California. Valentine's date. Just kidding. I'm actually really excited that it's just Pat and I today. It's been a really long time. Like, it's been legit over 2 weeks. Like, the last day that we spent together, and it was just me and him, was like January 27th, because I've just been like in the mountains with this like specific pod group of friends. Like, we were as careful as we could be in regards to, like, I think our only contact with other people would be like the gas station, but it wasn't with other people, just like the handle. We all had like Lysol, whatever that hand sanitizer stuff that I hate. Yeah, that. And then we didn't do any dine-in. We only got takeout, and then I cooked. Yeah, so it's interesting. So it's like we were completely away from people, but it's still the most amount of people that I've been around in a year. That's like wild to think about. That's really weird. It's strange. Life is strange, guys. We're just here making strange shapes with our bodies and learning how to breathe deeper. So, you know, it's all par for course. Well, I'll be here same time, same place tomorrow. Same place on the internet. Probably not the same place in my apartment, because this isn't not the most ideal setup. And it kind of looks like my apartment's a disaster. But like I said, just had a bunch of people leave. It'll get better. Yeah, so much love from me to you. Happy Valentine's Day. I don't even know if any of my fitness peeps are on. I haven't even like been on. IP Ching is on. Oh, The Great Kind is on. Meditate with me. Let's. Tip jar link didn't work. It says we were unable to find this broadcaster. Derp. Thank you for trying. I'll update that. I'm gonna update that. But I'll send you a link via text, because I don't know why that's wrong. Thank you, Bodhi. It's not your fault. It's not Bodhi's fault. You're perfect, Bodhi. It's definitely me. We're gonna raid meditate underscore. What is happening here? Why do I have volume on? Stream Elements link doesn't work either. Yeah, that's because they're attached to the same one.
well, I'm gonna work on it. Hopefully by tomorrow it'll be working. It's supposed to just connect to my PayPal, but no, I appreciate it. Thank you, Linda. Lar4444. I don't want to give away your secret identity, but yeah, that I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know unless somebody told me. So I appreciate you. Okay, so let's go and raid Meditate with me. We can just say hi, and then yeah, because she raided me last week or like 2 weeks ago, so I want to return the favor. I think she's pretty good. She's good energy. So I love you all. Yeah, I see that. I'm not easy. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to fix that right now when I send you over to Meditate with Me's page. Whoops. Yeah, I know. I know. Linda just told me, my bad. I had to get my shit together. It worked in January. Maybe it's like a 1 month thing. All right, let's try it. Let me try and fix it behind the scenes while y'all head over and say hi to Meditate. All right, am I right? Hello.
Or with the Taco Bell app.